Welcome to the Posse TV.
Perfect.
From Red Dwarf, and I want you to do a lovely round of applause for these guys. Of course, it is Chris Barrie and Mark Dextor. Have a seat. How you doing? You alright?
Not bad.
Not bad.
No, not bad. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you very much. Yeah.
It seems like only yesterday.
I know, it feels like not long ago that we were talking here last. It was yesterday that we had a little chat. So yeah, let's just go straight into it's bad and it's wonderful.
Bad and it's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, bad is it's
Bad is the new good.
bad is the new good.
Allegedly.
I'm trying to get involved. Red Dwarf. Let's just start right at the beginning then. So how did you get involved in Red Dwarf yourself, Chris?
Well, I was working with Rob Grant and Doug Naylor on the Jasper Carrot show originally.
Jasper Carrot?
From about 1983 actually, when we did the election special.
Right.
And I was doing impersonations of people who are long gone from the world, people like Robin Day and Michael Foot. We on this side of the house, we are. Even the older people in the audience don't know who that is. You know? Probably just as well as one guy there. Anyway, Michael Foot was sort of like a sort of Jeremy Corbyn of his day, wasn't he? In a weird kind of way, wasn't he? So I was working on Jasper Carrot, and then so I knew Rob and Doug through those early 80s. I did some TV shows with them, some radio shows with Son of Cliche and Cliche. And then when they were trying to get Red Dwarf off the ground, they were sort of auditioning actors, performers that they knew. So I was one of those people, and you know, I got the call one day to say that you haven't got the part. And then they said they were going ahead with proper actors, and then they changed their mind and hired Craig and myself. and then then Danny came on board, and then Robert came on board in series 2 after Crichton. So that was the beginning for me.
Well, it's fantastic, and yourself. I mean, you were involved a lot later on.
A lot later, 5 years ago. Having been a fan all my life, since I was a toddler, Chris, don't want to rub it in. Yes, pretty straightforward. I got a call from my agent saying Red Dwarf is coming back to television. Channel Dave is bringing the show back, and for episode 1, they're looking for Rimmer's brother, and it's time for you to face up to the fact that you resemble Chris Barrie. So right there on the phone,
Big honour, dear boy, a big honour.
No, straight away, immediately, without hesitation, still on the phone, I attempted suicide, and then thought, well, no, I will face the fact that I resemble Chris Barrie, and rather than shoot myself, I'll shoot the episode. And yeah, I was there on the first episode of the New Dave era.
So, I mean, did you study? Have you studied? Did you need to study?
How would one go about studying Chris Barrie? I did a bit actually, but this wasn't the first time that it had been put to me that there was a resemblance, not to you in real life, but that I had a little bit of a rimmer about me every now and again when I got into a crotchety mood. So it wasn't a huge shock. It didn't come entirely out of the blue. Yeah, I looked at his face a bit, and I rewatched a few of the old shows.
Just looked at his face and watched some shows.
I looked deep and inside, and I found a Chris somewhere, or his brother rather.
Well,
That's fascinating.
I didn't tell you that before, but I looked deep inside.
I've got a lot of questions. I've also got these questions of doom, but I know that there might be some questions out there, and rather than offering up these somewhat slightly strange and abstract questions that I've collected, are there any questions out there that you guys might want to ask Otherwise, this first one's got there's no questions just yet. Then I'm going to half this. And I'm going to.
Yes, no hands go up. Question of doom. We've been dying to answer a question of doom.
I've been threatening with this for ages. I don't know what 80% of these questions are. What number sounds good to eat and why? I told you, I warned you.
No, but 0, because it looks like a donut.
Yeah, let's move on to another question of doom, shall we?
If you could reenact any scene from a movie or show, what would it be?
Oh, right. It would probably be a scene from 9.5 Weeks or something. Fortunately, not many people remember that.
You old rascal.
Yeah, I don't. God, what a question. It would probably be.
You could reenact a scene from Transformers and kind of go back and play your character from Transformers, which is out on DVD soon.
No, because in order to resemble vaguely David Cameron, I'd have to spend several weeks eating burgers so that my cheeks swell up slightly. I don't relish the idea.
Oh God, I don't know really. You got me on the spot there. It'd probably be sort of something out of James Bond, probably.
Oh.
Probably James Bond, but it'll be a driving scene. But with me in an Aston Martin DB5, sort of charging down the Stelvio Pass when they used to do it there. With not much dialogue, because I hate learning lines.
Really?
Yeah.
You hate learning lines?
Yeah.
I haven't noticed much.
It will be that scene, I think it's Goldfinger, where Sean Connery as James Bond's chasing, I don't know what car it is, but it's a young lady in another sports car. And I think he tried, and the only words really is he gives chase in the car and he goes, and then he backs off and he goes, discipline, boy, discipline. Something like that. There you go.
Well, let's have another quick one. Thank you for saving us from these awful questions. Hello, over there. How are you?
Technical hitch.
We've got, which one is it? Which, oh there we got the yellow one. There you go. Hello.
Hi, what's your favourite scene in Red Dwarf?
Definitely the scene where Howard Rimmer comes in Trojan in Series 10.
I slipped him £20 before this appearance to say just that. But,
I too think that Trojan is my favourite episode.
oh, shucks.
And then I'm introducing the crew to you, aren't I? My fearless flight captain, Lister, Dave Lister. And Crichton, one of my favourite lines is, you give me a sort of feed line, and I say, no, he just hosed him down and gave him a hat. I can't remember what the feed that was, but, which makes that completely invalid. But yeah, it was a good scene, good show. But probably my favourite scene overall, in addition to that, would be in Marooned, and would be the long scene with Lister at the end, talking about the Camphorwood chest, and how we kept having this respect for him, you know, sacrificing all that thing, and of course, he's done the dirty on me, But with Red Dwarf, fortunately, it's such a strongly written show. It's tricky to pick out any one scene, really.
Knowing you the way I do, Chris, I'm surprised that you didn't choose a scene from Rimmerworld, where there's about 60 million of you on screen.
Officer Rimmer in Series 11.
Oh yes.
Yes, where there's even...
Anything that's vaguely Rimmer heavy.
Rimmer heavy, or a lot of people say surely it was Rimmerworld when the two maidens were rubbing my chest. But the downside of that is that actually they did it for quite a long time because we did take after take, and there was a sawdusty set. So eventually they were sort of rubbing sawdust and Johnson's baby oil into my chest, which is not quite as nice as just the baby oil.
Exfoliating though, I guess, in some ways.
Yes. Yes, and that's true.
Pulling the first couple of layers of skin off at the same time. We've got another question down here. Hello. Oh.
Hello?
Hello.
If you could change one thing about Red Dwarf, what would it be there?
Oh, really?
No.
He's from the planet Spock. I know him.
If you could change one thing about Red Dwarf, what would that be?
If you could change one thing about Red Dwarf. You can say nothing.
I think the show needs way more Howard. Lacking there.
The rest of the casting? No, do you know what? There's no such thing as a perfect show. But look, we've been going 30 years, so it must be pretty damn near kind of, you know, right in terms of its sort of content. Okay, if I could change one thing about Red Dwarf, the budget. In other words, I'd up it, obviously. But no, I think I think I'm pretty happy with the way it is, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I suppose if you up the budget a little bit, it might lose a little bit of its charm, but at least you'd be able to put a bit more time and effort into sharpening it up as such. But it's still what it is, really, isn't it? It's a multi-camera production.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it would always be nice to have just that little bit more money to sort of maybe have a new set instead of taking one of the old sets and turning it around and painting it a different kind of grey.
Stop giving away all the secrets. We had some other hands. We've got a hand there. We've got a hand there. Oh, we've got a hand here.
What was it like wearing the Crichton mask, and who sort of moaned most about wearing it?
Do you know what? Robert deserves a medal, and the extra bit of the budget I was talking about should go to him, because to do that for, what, 35 times a series or something like that, is a big ask. And I know he's done it for years and years and years, series and series and series, but he never really complained about it. Even back in the old days, series, 3, when he was, Craig and I were sort of passing him on the steps, just coming in from a night out, and he was going for makeup, sort of about 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, and he was in there for hours and hours getting this mask on. These days it's much shorter, but he really goes through it, and it's not pleasant, because you're in a prison of latex. That's the way I found it.
Yeah.
And who complained the most? Me, definitely. And of course, the first day we did it for two days. And the first day I was actually sort of slightly ill at the end of the day, and the mask probably didn't contribute to it. It's one of those days when it was very cold outside and quite warm inside.
No kind of atmosphere.
Yes, goldfish bowl, goldfish shooting up their toes, and so it was me probably who complained the most, but it was well worth it, because obviously, it's a great episode coming up, of course, in the coming weeks in Series 12.
I've got something to add to that, actually, because I you have no idea who I am, but I've worked for Millennium Effects, and Millennium supplied the prosthetics and a lot of the creatures for Red Dwarf. And I mean, I heard that Chris was just moaning all the time. No, I didn't hear that at all. But I saw about a year ago. It was just over a year ago, wasn't it? I saw all of your live casts up on the wall. I said, oh, all the Dwarf boys. And they went, oh yeah, there's one episode where. Oh, okay. How does that work?
Millennium did some work throughout the series for us in 11 and 12, and fantastic company actually, and they've done some brilliant work. And without them, we wouldn't have made it look that little bit higher budget than it might otherwise have been. So no, great work, Millennium.
It's and that episode's coming out pretty soon, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be. I don't know the order.
Yeah, the order's changed a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not the first one, but it'll be.
Cool, we've got a question right at the back there as well. There's a gentleman on this side. I've got wonderful help here, handing around. Hello. He's doing really well today, it's so cool. Hi there.
Hello there. I've got a couple of questions, one linking back to the quality question. Obviously at one stage you actually jumped ship, Chris, but then decided to come back again, and obviously then it's moved on to Dave. So what's keeping you involved? And the second question is, Rob got involved in the writing. Would you ever want to write an episode yourself?
And do you have the necessary skills?
Well, that's my answer. I don't have the necessary skills to answer your second question first. I have tried writing in the past, and no, I'm not disciplined enough as a writer. I don't really. I can write things, but they're not. I couldn't really write an episode of Red Dwarf. I don't think. I mean, the benchmark is pretty high. Doug is a genius, and Robert is a writer. I mean, he writes for fun, you know, and I think he enjoyed the challenge, and he really, you know, relished the thing, you know. And that leads me on to the second question. It is, in fact, your first question. It is, in fact, the writing that always brings me back. Because every series of Red Dwarf and every episode, we can't wait to open the scripts and get reading, because, you know, it's just, there's always so much imagination and such fantastic dialogue in every episode, and that's the thing that brought me back. I get sent scripts for other things all the time, and you know, I'm not a good reader. I am a little bit sort of, I can't concentrate for too long, and if by page 5 or 6 my mind is wandering, then out it goes, and I just say no. But Red Dwarf, you know, you're hooked usually by the you know, the second scene. So that's what brings me back to it.
Mark, saying that, what attracts you to a part? Obviously not just Red Dwarf, we just spoke about that, but other such things. You've been in a whole range of things.
Tight spandex suits, so Red Dwarf is perfect for that, really. No, I think with something like this, I was talking to somebody earlier, there's something about becoming part of something that you've been a fan of for years. I mean, I didn't have to wait to see the script. I just knew that this was something that I would want to be part of, to, like I said yesterday, become the 5th Beatle in this amazing show for just 1 week. And there's something about meeting people that whose journey through space you've followed all these years. I mean, I've been lucky enough to work with famous individuals, Johnny Depp and Anthony Hopkins in Transformers just now, people like that, but you usually just meet them one at a time. With these guys, it was all 4 of you at once. And there's no way that I was going to miss out on that, having followed the show for many years, so that can be a reason to get involved, really.
And was it in front of a live audience as well?
It was, but I didn't know that. I made the mistake of Googling the previous series, which hadn't been. So I realised pretty much on the day that the audience came in that they were on their way, and realised that I was going to have to learn my lines after all, which was a bit of a nuisance. But yeah, you had 1 series without the audience. No, I noticed that, yeah. I wondered why I bothered as soon as the cameras started rolling.
Has anyone been to see when it was being filmed? Anyone been? Oh yes, so there's a couple of you there. It's quite an intense situation, really, isn't it? Live TV recording like that, which isn't done as much on something.
Hardly ever in this country, yeah.
I mean, Doctor Who was famously not live, but there were multi-camera things where it was instant, and they were having to put effects on at the same time as well. But yeah, this is wonderful. Have you got any more questions? I saw your other hands around. Oh, there we go, right at the back. Oh, you've already said.
If someone was going to be a new series of Spit the Image, would any of you two be willing to do voiceovers for any of the characters?
I can only do, I said yesterday, I can really only do my dad, so I don't think it would sell well. This guy, however...
Well, it's a new era, obviously. My era is kind of the 80s. For a second there, I thought you said, would you be happy if they made a puppet of us? That would be quite interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's probably a whole new raft of people who are out there who do impersonations of the current crop of people. I mean, I'd probably have a go at a few of them, but my era was back in the 80s. I don't really do many people now.
I think they should bring that show back, by the way, but...
There was talks about bringing it back, and that they've. I thought there was mumblings about it coming back, but I
think there's the real thing, the real news footage, and the real new behaviour.
That's funny enough.
It's perfectly satirical and amusing and damn frightening at times. So I don't know whether a satirist could do much better, really.
Okay, we're unfortunately time's marching on. We've got time for about one more question or so. We've got one straight down here. Hello there. how's the microphone doing?
Hiya, can I just ask, was there an episode that you found quite difficult for any particular reason to film?
The only things that can be difficult sometimes in a Red Dwarf episode is the physical demands that are going to be made on us. And I seem to remember back in, it might have been series 4, it was one of the Ace episodes where I think I was sort of rescuing Lister from the side of the ship, and it was in a storm. And they had this Volkswagen engine wind machine quite close, and they were sort of hurling water at us. So I'm sure I nearly drowned, you know, with this thing going away. And of course I was going, all right, Davey boy, it's okay, Davey boy, everything's going to be okay. You know, I was sort of beginning to sound very un-Ace-like and very uncool as I was drowning with this water and this wind, you know. And Doug and Rob at the sides and go, yeah, it's great. And we were both nearly drowning, probably. So that sort of thing, yeah. But and of course the other challenge is, you know, huge, great, sort of 7-page scene that we haven't quite learned properly. We need to do it in one hit. That's sort of, are we ready for this? No, let's just do it anyway. So those are sort of situations to put into. But at the end of the day, we sort of quite like the challenge, and we've been doing it quite a long time, you know, but let's bring those challenges on, you know.
I found the first episode of Series 10 next to impossible, but that's just me.
Have you found any particular one, you know, of your range of films and TV that you've done? Anything been difficult? A similar question to you, really?
No. Nothing is beyond my skills. Everything's difficult, but you find a way.
Or Howard River.
Yes.
You're on Howard River, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Well, look, unfortunately, we've rapidly run out of time. Thank you so much for coming and chatting to us on stage. Please give it up for these guys. Aren't they been fantastic? Thank you so much. We've got Chris, Barrie, and Mark. Thank you so much.